James, the brother of Jesus, on the map. Before we wrote these books in the 1990s, early 2000s, nobody really even thought about Jesus having a brother. And what does it mean for him to have a brother? Well, it flies in the face of all Catholic and other Christian ideology, actually, because if he has a brother, then first of all, he is not supernatural. Second of all, Mary is not a virgin. And then it goes on and on and on and on. The normative Catholic response to this is, oh, he was only a cousin. He was a son by a different mother. Well, that is Jerome in the 5th century, 4th to 5th century. But actually, that's a theological response. There is no proof of that at all. All the texts speak of James, Greek name, Hebrew name Yaakov, but Greek name Jacob, Jacobus. But he's also always called the righteous one. All the texts speak of James the Just. I don't know if you ever heard of that. James the Just. We get, I think, James from Spanish into English. So he's also called James the Just, James the Righteous One. And what put me on it was my work in the Dead Sea Scrolls. I'm somewhat known for working pretty extensively in the Dead Sea Scrolls, been out there, done a lot of archaeological work, and broke the monopoly on the scrolls, which was again controlled by the church, on the interpretation of these scrolls. Now, one of the problems in the interpretation of the scrolls is we always heard they were Essenes, but no one ever understood what an Essene was. They were supposed to be peaceful Essenes, basically contemplating their navels, if you like, out in the wilderness someplace. But if you read their doctrines, this is not a peaceful group. They are not a loving group. They don't love their neighbors. They hate the sons of the pit. They're not turning the other cheek, and they're preparing for the final apocalyptic war against all evil on the earth. Now, how are they going to win? There's actually a war scroll outlining this. How are they going to win this final war? They're going to have these desert camps, and they're living in desert camps. And in the desert camps, the sectaries, if you want to call it, are practicing absolute purity regulations according to Hebrew law. Why are they practicing absolute purity regulations? Because they're a holy army and they have a secret atomic weapon. The secret atomic weapon is the holy angels. And they are preparing for the holy angels to join their camps. I have this crazy idea that the holy angels will not join the camps if there's any human impurity there. So there cannot be any sexual intercourse, any wet dream at night, anything of that kind. And everything has to be perfectly pure. No women, unfortunately. Everything perfectly pure. The reason being, if the holy angels are going to come down and fight the whole might of the Roman Empire and all the rest of the peoples on the earth who are evil, the ones who are evil, then they have to be able to go back up to heaven, and they can't go back up to heaven if they encounter human impurity. Okay, why did I introduce it with that? Because the leader of this group is called the righteous teacher, or the teacher of righteousness. And when you look at him, when you hear about him in the texts, he's always called the tzaddik. The underlying text in Hebrew, whether it's in the Habakkuk commentary, the prophet Habakkuk and the commentary on that, or any of the other commentaries on different prophets, the word tzaddik is always moreh hatzedek in the interpretation. Okay, move over to James. James is the just. What is the just? In Hebrew, the tzaddik. Who is he? Well, the problem is distinguishing between literature and history. Now, people all love the Gospels. They all know the Gospels. But no one knows the really historical materials of the New Testament, because the Gospels are the storybook materials of the New Testament. Those are the art, but those are more like, how should we put it, literature. Those are not history. And we know from the material in them, they're not history. In fact, I've said finally at the end of this book that what they do is they reverse everything in the Dead Sea Scrolls to the absolute letter. Why am I drawing these parallels? Because I want to get closer to the Moreh HaTzedek, the teacher of righteousness, to James the righteous one. Yaakov, the righteous one. Both of them are leaders of communities. Now, where do we hear about James the Just? So you speak to an ordinary Christian, and he said, well, some brothers of Jesus are mentioned in the scripture, James, Joses, Simon, and Jude. Joses being just a variation on the name Jesus. So Jesus has turned into his actual brother, and so on and so forth. But they know the Gospels, but they don't know the historical parts of the New Testament. What are the historical parts of the New Testament? Paul's letters. Not all of them, but the ones scholars generally agree are historical. Which one? When I went to California, Cal State Long Beach, no one wanted a course that didn't have Jesus in it. So I ended up teaching courses that I didn't know anything about because my dissertation was on Islamic law in Palestine and Israel. So we had to teach, mandated by state law, 4 courses a term, 8 courses a year. If you didn't want to go crazy and teach the same course over and over and over again, I mean, a place like Princeton, Yale, Cambridge, Harvard, or wherever, the professors maybe teach 2 courses a term or 1. They might teach 3 courses in a year, and it has to be in their discipline. I had to teach things in every discipline. So I learned Christianity as I went along. Islam, I knew. Judaism, I began teaching Old Testament and so on, all the way up to modern Jewish thought and Zionism. All these are on YouTube, should you want to look at them, all the courses, 8 courses that I have taught. So one develops a certain breadth of insight and knowledge there. For instance, I can tell you, Muhammad knows James's instructions to overseas communities. You say, well, what are James's instructions to overseas communities? Where did these come from? Well, you'd have to read Acts and know that suddenly Acts 15, very few people really read Acts for themselves, the narrative changes. You go from a he, she, their history. And so you come to a thing where Jerusalem Council, where James, who has never been introduced in Acts, the other James having disappeared, James, the brother of John. Some people think he went to Spain and so on, but he was killed according even to the book of Acts, never got out of Palestine if he ever existed. He looks like a stand-in for the real James. Why are these stand-ins? Because the real James, the brother of Jesus, is so embarrassing. In any case, in the book of Acts, his instructions to overseas communities are abstain from blood, which is Hebrew doctrine, things sacrificed to idols, fornication, etc. If you look at Islamic dietary law and things that carrion, things that have died of themselves or have been ripped by other animals. If you look at Islamic dietary law, it's exactly the same. Abstain from blood, carrion, etc., things sacrificed to idols, and this kind of thing. They've picked up James's instructions to the letter. Why hasn't Christianity? Because Paul attacks them viciously in his letters. Now, people don't know these letters, so they don't know that Paul is full of envy, anger. He actually, I don't know how to say it, he actually hates James. But we wouldn't even know James existed if we didn't let's take Galatians. Galatians is the key letter. Almost no Christian I've ever met who's not a professional person has ever read Galatians for themselves. And if you read chapter 1, there it is. Paul says he went up to Jerusalem after his first inspiration, and he saw no one but James, the brother of the Lord, and Peter. And then in chapter 2, he says, these super apostles, not that their importance means anything to me. And in the meantime, he's down in Antioch, which is probably not along the coast, but in northern Syria. And what's happening there? He says, the representatives of James, i.e. James, the brother of Jesus, came down. And Peter, who used to keep table fellowship with Gentiles, I'm not saying you should or you shouldn't, but according to Hebrew dietary law, you wouldn't be able to, stop keeping table fellowship with Gentiles. And Barnabas followed him in this hypocrisy. He actually calls Peter and Barnabas hypocrites. Augustine in Northern Africa wrote Jerome in the 5th century and said, how dare Paul call Peter a hypocrite? Well, Jerome wrote back and said, there are some things we shouldn't answer or cannot answer. And that was the end of that particular question. But then, so Peter stops keeping table fellowship with Gentiles. But the point is, Peter defers to James. So it's clear Peter is not the leader of the early church. The leader of the early church is James. I've only got a short time here, so I want to just compress things a little bit further so we can get to questions and things like that. But just to move on, and that's what I say, you must read Galatians for yourself. You can't have someone else read it for you. You can have your priest, minister, or anyone else. You have to read it for yourself and see you're dealing with a pretty nasty piece of work here. Someone who is not full of love. Where does it come out? Chapter 4 of Galatians. The representatives of James come down to Paul's communities, seemingly in Galatia, and they want to circumcise his communities. In the earlier chapter 2 of Galatians, he calls the some from James those of the circumcision. He wants to and Paul says, in response to these people coming down, whose importance means nothing to him, I wish they would themselves cut off. You look, it's there, meaning I wish they would their own gonies cut off. Now, this is a very nice fellow, a very tender-hearted, loving fellow. So what happens? How do we know there's, in the last part of Acts, that there's any proof to all of this? Go forward from Acts 15:16 to James's instructions where we first meet him and he's not introduced, to Paul's last visit to Jerusalem. He comes up, and we're in the We document. Probably Luke is writing this, and they got it from some sort of memorandum he's been keeping. He said, we came up to Jerusalem, and Paul went in to see James to tell him of all the wonderful things we've been doing overseas. And then James responded, this is our James. He's the head of the church. Nobody knows it. He's the head of the church. So James responded, but you see, Paul, we've heard that you've been telling everyone overseas not to practice circumcision, saying things against this temple, against the law, and against the people. So to show this is actually quoted in the book of Acts in the We document, where the We narrative takes over till the end. To show there's and it's a different kind of narrative because it's not supernatural events. It isn't any of these things. To show there's no truth to any of these things, we want you to go into the temple and take a Nazarite oath. That's a temporary Nazarite oath. Christianity, Nazarenes are really named after Nazarite type activities. Qumran is a community of lifelong Nazarites. And Nazarites abstain from certain things. We want to take a short one, a temporary Nazarite oath, and pay for 4 others because he's perceived as having money which he's raised overseas. Pay for 4 others. In other words, to publicly show there's no truth to the rumors we've heard about you. And he's nothing loath, Paul, of course there is truth, every truth to it. Read the whole book of Acts and you'll see that there's not one moment that he isn't criticizing the temple, the people, and the church, not one letter either. And the law. Nothing loath, he goes into the temple. What is he being set up? We don't know. But in chapter 21, he goes into the temple, and the people see him, and they go mad, and they say, "This is the person," and the We document is recording this, who teaches against our people, against our temple, and against this place. And they don't want to kill him yet, though Acts says there are people who have taken a Nazarite oath that they will not eat or drink until they have killed Paul. In any event, they throw him. No one in Christianity I know even knows this material or ever hears of it. They throw him out of the temple. So first we have a James, then we have the leader of the community. I already told you we have a James, we have a righteous one who's the leader of the Qumran community. They throw him out and they bar the door behind him. That's actually said. That's in the scrolls too, about barring the door against wrongdoers. What happens? Roman troops up in Antonia in the towers come down and rescue Paul. So that's been obviously prearranged. And what happens? They set Paul up before the crowds and they make the crowds listen to a lecture from Paul. And then they take him down under protective custody to Caesarea, the Roman administrative center. So they're protecting him from these, whoever wants to, well, shall we say, dispose, get him, whatever. And this is all in the second part of Acts, the more historical part of Acts. So this is the difference between history and literature. Literature is, something else. And most of the literature we're talking about was written in Rome or Alexandria by Greeks. That's why we don't have any Hebrew versions. So we're getting a kind of literary propaganda, the Gospels, no one in Palestine spoke this way and was crucified. There was probably a crucified person. Paul says the only thing he knows about Jesus, which is funnily enough, is that he was crucified. So if he was crucified for revolutionary activities. But the Gospels are anxious to show, oh no, this is a rumor, a lie that the Jews are spreading. And Pontius Pilate actually doesn't want to do it, but the Jews force him. But what do we know about Pontius Pilate? Philo goes to Rome in the same period, Philo, the Jewish philosopher in the 30s. And he tells us that Pilate was removed because he was the most violent, unjust, bloodthirsty governor that the Romans ever sent out to Palestine. So square those things if you can. You can't square them. And you see what's being done, a total reversal of history.
Mic check, mic check. If I can be heard, give me a Yahoo up in the chat. If I can be heard, give me a Yahoo up in the chat. That's Professor Robert Essene, known for his work dealing with the Dead Sea Scrolls and first century literature coming out of Palestine. Check him out. He got a plethora of videos and all that. Got a plethora of books too. I got a few of his books. Pretty interesting. Okay, I can be heard. All right, all praises. Blessings, family. All praise to the Most High for ever led the teachings of Yahshua HaMashiach in the hearts and minds of all my brothers and sisters. You already know. Clip up, bless up. The war drums are beating. We want to give thanks and praise to the Most High, man. We still got the breath of life. We still above ground. Y'all see that? And as long as we got the Most High with us, then, you know, there's another opportunity to go ahead and be great out here. And handle business and handle up like a son or a daughter of the Most High. So abundant blessings to all you brothers and sisters. Bless up. All right, we're about to get back into some more of the historicity of the Nazarene and Essene literature. We're going to see how far we can get today. If not, it'll be a part 4 because we got more. We got testimony from men like Jerome, Gennadius, Origen, Irenaeus, guess appear you all these so quote unquote who you hear about church fathers or church historians, right? But all of them live like after Messiah and disciples was out here, you know what I mean? But we do have testimony going back 1900 years, some 1800, 17, 1600 years of it being acknowledged even off the mouth of those who profess Orthodox Christianity. That the Nazarene way of living is what the Messiah and his movement was about. It was about a total different code than what was accepted at the time as Orthodox. And that's what you see in today. The Orthodox, whether it be so-called Catholicism, Christianity, or whether it's the Hebrew Israelites, our nation, the orthodoxy is threatened, just like in the days of Yahshua HaMashiach. You understand? It's the same thing. Same thing. Judgment is like a ring. So you heard the phrase before, what goes around comes around, right? Well, it tells you that in the Apocrypha that the judgment of the Most High is like a ring. You see that? So we're going to get into some of this. And the reason we going back over this, I brought all this out last year, but we're going to go back over it and slow roll it. There's a lot of brothers and sisters coming in asking questions about the Bible. You understand? How do we handle up? How do we deal with, how you say, the Sabbath? How do we deal with 613 Torah laws? Or do we follow the teachings of Messiah? Is there a Messiah? Like, it's a lot that come with it, man. You know what I mean? So you hear people a lot be like, man, I've been in the truth this long, but not really realizing that the truth is one truth, right? But there's many levels and many sides to it. Many levels and many sides. I tell you that in the gospel of the Nazarenes and tell you to stop bragging. You feel me? For example, he healed a blind man, right? As soon as the blind man, this is in the gospel of the Nazarenes, right? He healed a blind man, right? And blind dude got the clowning like I can see everything now. I done saw it all. And Messiah was like, just think about how much you ain't seen. You understand? So don't, you understand, coming to a level of enlightenment and then you start bragging as if, you know, you the big muckety muck. You done seen it all. He's like, think how much you ain't seen, boy. Your eyes just got open. Think about how much you ain't seen. Same way, he healed a deaf man in the gospel of the Nazarenes, right? He unstopped this man ears. He come up out of his deaf stupor like he done heard it all. I done heard it all. And he like, look, stop that. Think about how much you haven't heard yet. And that's how we got to start dealing. Got to start dealing with the information, man, and what we call truth or truthful knowledge. We got to start dealing with that more humble. You understand? Meaning, like, we shouldn't be out here bragging like we done seen it all and know it all. That shouldn't be what it is, y'all. This is just information. You dig? If what you standing on is solid, bring it to the table and let's chop it on up. That's why we're putting together the Battle of the Holy Books. All right, shalom to all the family in the chat. I see y'all in the building. Anna, my beloved sister out of Texas, bless up. What up, Anna Nails? All praises. Abundant blessings to your family. My Selah Shalom, bless up, Ak. Blessed up to my brother Selah Shalom. Y'all go check my Ak out, man. Highly controversial. Hey, but I love the spirit on the brother. I'm gonna keep it solid with y'all because he with it. Like he with it. He ain't hiding. He ain't ducking. What he's saying, he with it. So whoever got a problem, you did. Come on with it. Reach out. Let's get it done. Don Yehuda, Scorn Black Man podcast. Abundant blessings. Love the work y'all brothers doing out there. I bless up. Yafa, what's going on? She Brew, bless up. Fritz, Foxwell, my beloved brother. Robbie Dobson. Who else we got up in here? Yah-Ray, Yah-Dread, Nazir, my beloved Cali brother. Bless up. Essene, Nazarene, Lemuel, my beloved brother. What's the word, King? Bless up, bless up. Who else we got over here? Watchman Baruch, my beloved brother. What's the word? I was just matter of fact, I'll probably send you something as soon as I get off the live. All right, Ira Stevens in the building, my beloved, another Texas sister. Bless up. Cornell Davis, my Cali brother. Jonathan Von Ryan, Yahoo. Joseph Evans, my beloved brother. Malaki Yasher, my beloved sister. Bless up. Love to see y'all in the building, man. Lion of Yah, that's what I'm talking about. All right, let's get to it. I'll share some of this. We ain't around here tiptoeing through no tulips or nothing like that, but let's get into it, all right? Nazarene edition, part 80. Nazarene edition, part 80. All right? This is part 3 of the Historicity of the Nazarene Saint literature. Cornell Davis got a question. My question is, after Jerusalem was totally destroyed in 70 AD, how did these churches survive when all Jews was banned from coming anywhere close to Jerusalem? That's a excellent question. You got to get, man, look, I'm going to tell y'all like this. Show y'all what I'm reading right now. Start connecting a lot of these dots out. Good night. Y'all need to check that. All right. Y'all need to check that. That's an excellent book, Creating Christianity, a Weapon of Ancient Rome by Henry Davis. That deal go hard. But what you see is, bro, first century, you got to realize, okay, you got the Roman Empire, and then you got a transition. Once Jerusalem fell, you know, you go from the Julian Claudian dynasty of Caesars into the Flavian dynasties. Yeah, that's with Flavius Josephus. You dig? Judah ben Matthias, but you know, he turncoat went over to the Romans. Flavius Josephus. So you get into the Flavian dynasty. When you get into the Flavian dynasty, you start seeing, damn, I keep running into these cats. Who the hell is these cats? And you'll start seeing Vespasian in them. Vespasian, his son Titus. And that was the Flavian dynasty. Now, anybody couldn't just produce literature back then. For one, a lot of people, period, were illiterate unless they were part of the, you know, some type of noble class or had a trade or something like that. A lot of people were illiterate. You know what I mean? Meaning they wasn't, even though they could speak certain things, they weren't writing or reading in that language. You know what I mean? So our people, of course, Hebrews, and the language of first century Palestine is more Aramaic, which is a sister language to the Hebrew, but nonetheless. All right, but all the Gospels are in Greek. All the Gospels are in Greek. So you got to ask yourself, what Hebrew produced the Gospels? If the Gospels are in Greek, and even though Greek can be heard and spoke, but you got to say written. because the Gospels were written in Greek and then translated. You see what I'm saying? So it's a lot of history behind it. What you want to get into is who was the ruling family of Caesars at the time, who has the ability to produce literature on a mass level. All right. What happened to the scrolls when Jerusalem went down? What happened to all our Torahs and everything? Torah, Talmud, Mishnah. What happened to all our literature and scrolls when Jerusalem was conquered? Was everything burnt, or did they take our stuff? We see that Archer Titus in Rome, they got our menorahs and everything. What else they have? What else they have? What else they take? They just took the menorah. What else did they take out the temple and take back to Rome? Is it possible they took back to Rome the very written Torah that everybody is claiming now? Is that possible? They raided Jerusalem, leveled it to the ground, burnt the temple down, but what did they take with them back to Rome? What did they take with them? Just a menorah? They just don't. So this is all they took. But remember, the menorah was in the temple. What else? Yeah, your literature. You understand? Your histories. Because one thing the Negro ain't figured out is this. And what all the ancients knew, if you're going to rule a people, you got to study them. You know what I mean? You got to study these people. If you're going to rule them, well, how do you study them? Think about it. All right, so who do the Flavians got in their court that is very familiar with the Hebrew literature and culture? Huh? Flavius Josephus. Huh? What about the Herodians? Ain't nobody bringing them up no more. And they were the tax collectors for Rome, fronting like they was Israelites. And the Herodians that took over everything, the king's seat, the priesthood, everything. See, you really got to get into it. Once you get into it and study this thing from a historical point of view, you'll start seeing like, damn, dog, what is really going on here? And for the record, you know, I'm messianic to the bone, Gristle. I mean, I follow the teachings of Messiah. It don't matter what I read. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not scared of history or information. Whatever I read is what I read, because I don't make a move anyway unless it resonates with my spirit. So it don't matter what nobody else got to say or what no book. I read it, and if it resonates, like, oh, you know what? I've been looking for something like that. Makes sense. Then I'm going to look further into it. If it don't resonate with me, I don't even deal with it. I don't even deal with it. I treat it like it's dead. But we can't be silly and act like Rome didn't take our records. They just took the menorah. That's all they took. They ain't take nothing. They ain't take your gold, your silver. They didn't take your Torahs. They ain't take your records. They ain't take none of it. You see? See, so you got to be real with yourself. All right? Ask yourself about the ruling Caesars. And once you understand that, then you trip off Flavius Josephus, like, hold on. And then trip off this. Flavius Josephus is a Hebrew, supposedly. But guess what he tell Vespasian? That Numbers, the 24th chapter, the prophecy of the Messiah is him. It's Vespasian Caesar. Look that up. All you got to do is look it up. Type in Vespasian Josephus prophesies about Vespasian being Caesar. And then he said that the Numbers 24 prophecy is about Vespasian. It wasn't just Josephus said it. Rabbi ELEAZAR, some Talmudic cat, same thing. They snuck him out of Jerusalem in a coffin. And he went and hollered at Vespasian, was like, look, all this got to do with you. So these men knew that the war was about to be lost to the Romans. So then they trying to get in good favor with the Romans. But these men, a lot of them are allowed to be a part of Caesar's court. You know what I mean? Be a part of his court historian. Record records and record literature. So you got to, pay attention, man. Pay attention and understand what's really going on. And then you can say, okay, then you can make a right decision out here. Not be caught up. Right, Prince Yehuda, Numbers 24 about Vespasian. That's a damn lie. Absolutely. Absolutely. But nonetheless, the historian that we all read said it. And a famous rabbi in the Talmud told him the same thing. So that's how the Flavians would have had any type of history or knowledge about the Hebrew culture or the Israelite culture in our history, because they had sellouts in their court. What you mean? Then don't forget about Philo of Alexandria. That's another, the Alexanders. That's another. It wasn't just the Herodians that was rich and down with Rome. You got the Alexanders that was in Egypt. That was a high prominent Hebrew, if you want to call it, Jewish family and whatever. And all of them was in league with Rome. Every last one of them. That's how. Because it was sellouts amongst y'all. You know what I mean? The aristocrats, the nobility, not the brothers that was in the mud getting it. Not us. The aristocrats amongst us sold us out. Huh? Sound familiar? That ain't nothing new. That's been happening. You see what I'm saying? So you really got to, you know, listen to the voice of the Creator, the Most High, because He's been speaking to every last one of y'all since before you can remember. You know it. I should have followed my first mind, my first voice. Bro, that's the voice of the Most High talking to you. He speak through your soul. Do it this way. Move like this. Watch out. That ain't me right there. See, so once you know the character of the Most High, then you can properly move and maneuver and navigate through these murky waters, no matter what you read. You know what I mean? You're going to read stuff in her that don't necessarily agree with what's in her. Huh? We ain't fronting like, you know, everything is, you know, or what don't agree with what's in her. You see what I'm saying? So it's always been for you to use your mind and navigate through this, man. You know what I mean? You got to know how to navigate through this thing and listen to the voice of the Creator, the Most High, period. Right? Follow the teachings of Yahshua of Nazarene. That's all you got to do, because He taught the higher way of the Father, the Creator. He taught that. You understand? That's how we rock. And you keep it like that, yeah, look, you'll be all good, man. Yeah. The Herodians were Edomites who hated Jews. Exactly. But they had the control, though, Cornel Davis. They had the control of Jerusalem. They had the power. They hate Yahudim, but they got the power. He on the king's seat. They got the priesthood. They did, and they're Roman tax collectors. So they're part of the court of Caesar. You see? Yeah, but even with Clementine, exactly. The Clementine, I definitely an excellent read, but it's still out the house of the Flavians. It's still out the house of the Flavians. You dig? But it's an excellent read, man. It's an excellent read. You dig? But it's still out the house of the Flavians. When you look at the gospel, I mean the Nazarene Acts, the book that I got up for the thumbnail, Clement, when you look inside the book, it tells you from the journal of T. Flavius Clement. He was out the same family. But I got to keep it real with you. The Clementine literature or the Nazarene Acts, the Nazarene Essene literature is off the chain. You know what I mean? It makes sense. And then when you bump into other philosophies that align with that, then you can be like, all right, bet that makes sense. You know what? That makes sense because I read that over this way. All right. So, you know, you just gotta be careful, man. And if it go against common sense, every brother and sister got the right to say, hold on, question that. You know what I mean? Look, something telling me don't go in that burning building. Now here come a brute. I'm pulling 30,000 precepts. Go in the building, Nah. I don't need 1,000 precepts to validate what I'm hearing. It don't make sense. Dig? That's what's up, Prince Yehuda, Levi, my beloved brother, man. Stay strong out here too, Stay strong out here, man. You dig? Most High give you the desires of your heart, Believe that, know that. You know what I mean? I don't comment a lot, but I be paying attention. I understand, brother. Staying strong out here. Praise. Okay, let's get into some of this, though. Let's get into some of this. All right, let me share my screen. And ain't nothing but love, y'all. It's just information. All right, can't nobody make you believe nothing. What, somebody gonna punch you into believing what they believe? All right, but we can't be afraid to stand on our own. You dig? What kind of truth are you a part of, and you ain't willing to sacrifice nothing? You ain't willing to lose nothing. You scared to say something because you may lose a following. You may lose money. You may lose fame. You may lose a woman. You may lose a husband. You may lose. May get put on child support, whatever. You may lose when you stand on truth because the truth offends the world. But what good are you if you ain't willing to lose, if you ain't willing to sacrifice? You understand? For the truth of the Most High. What good are you? Oh, you going to speak it as long as you ain't threatening. Then, bro, go sit down somewhere. You ain't no front liner. You ain't really about none of this. Because you afraid. You afraid to lose. You afraid to sacrifice. You afraid for people to start talking about you. And I mean, I don't care nothing about that. What's up? Oh, okay. Okay, well, about none of you just smelling your own breath. I get it. I get it. But you ain't stood on no truth if you ain't willing to lose. If you ain't willing to sacrifice, you ain't stood on no truth. What you dealing with is convenience. Yeah, it's convenient for everybody. You know, dang, you know. Everybody likes you. You know. It's different when you the only brother or there's a few brothers amongst 1,000. Just like, hey, hold on. Slow that up, run that back. That don't make sense. Huh? You ain't about no truth. You ain't willing to lose. Yeah. So all praises, man. Let's get into some of this. Y'all getting me hyped this morning. You dig? But all praises, man. Love all y'all brothers indeed and in truth, man. Brothers and sisters. Got mad love for the sisters. Sisters going hard out here in these hours. You dig? And it's much love, man. And whatever you heard, and let me say this too. Whatever you heard on this platform that you don't agree with, because I'll be having brothers and sisters on the platform. But whatever you heard, whether it's from my mouth or the mouth of any brothers and sisters that I build with, if you don't like it, your thumbs ain't broke. Reach out, set up the debate, you dig? I'll make sure everything cordial, and then we can get it on in front of Israel so Israel can be edified. But what you're going to find out is people ain't even willing to do that. They ain't even willing to do that. You just want to run your mouth. Let's get it. You dig? So regardless, y'all, I mean, however it come out, I love y'all. It's just information that Israel need to see in these hours. Because every last one of us know what? We still got questions. You've been in what we call the truth for a while, some longer than others, but you still got questions over certain stuff. Stop it. Stop it. Certain things still don't sit well with you. Like, nah, hold on. So in a quest and search for truth, you got to be willing to shed old stuff. You got to be willing to shed dead weight. You got to be willing to sacrifice and lose so you can be a better vessel for the Creator. You ain't willing to do that. You ain't willing to come build with your brothers and sisters. You ain't willing to open up these books and rap and let's get it done. Some brothers just only swim in the KJV. That's cool. I'm your brother. I'll meet you in the KJV. That's what's up. But we going to have to talk, though. Some brothers only deal with the Sefer. You dig? That's cool. I'll meet you there. I got a Sefer, too. I'll meet you right there. Let's rap about it, though. We got questions. Some brothers only deal with the Greek, the Hebrew. I got the Torahs. I got the Stone Edition Torah up top, the JPS Torah. I got all of it. You understand? Mishnahs, Talmuds, whatever you want to talk about. Kabbalah, Zohar, whatever you want to talk about. Whatever you want to talk about. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing to bring it out, put it out, and just see, and put on table and see what is spiritually superior. Because everything floating around ain't divine. We all know that everything floating ain't righteous. But the only way to tell if it's righteous or if it stands up or not is if it has to be tested. You got to open it up and test it. You see? So all praises, man. Believe that. It's just information with me. I really ain't on all that. You know, people mad. Hey, man, look, whatever. You know, use your anger to guide you in the right path. You dig? Don't allow your anger to run up on some of the brothers or whatever, because it'll be a problem. You dig? But use your anger as a righteous way to bring out or expose, you feel me, the doctrine or the, you know, whatever is being taught. That's what it's about. Hold them to the book. That's why I'm doing Battle with the Holy Books. I'm holding people to the books they claim as the holy. Hold them to the book. Let's see where it's at. I'm hearing all type of people offended, and man, look, I'm not about to hear all that because I've been bringing out the Nazarene stuff since last year. All praises to the Most High. And I called everybody to the flow. Nobody showed up. Huh? Nobody. So I'm not hearing you mad because I got other brothers that look at least willing to, at least they not hiding behind what they believe. They not hiding behind it at all. They like, what's up? But see, that's the type of spirit I am. I'm like, what's up? Let's get it. Then you're going to start seeing this. Dang, everybody really ain't about all that. Not really. You feel me? So whoever got a problem with what come out, whether it's from my mouth whether it's from any of my brothers affiliated with the channel, NehemiYAH, YAHKI, whether it's any of my brothers I got my Cosmon brothers now. I got SHALOM and Cosmon, Cal, and them, and brothers and sisters over that way too. Whoever got a problem with what anybody is saying, get in contact with me so we can set up a dialogue in front of everybody. And let's just see where it's at. You know what I mean? That's it. That's it. It ain't nothing to it. You dig? In the end, can't nobody make you believe nothing anyway. All right? Either it resonate here or it don't. All right? All praise glory now to the Most High. Would you say the blood and flesh is clogging brothers up from, man, look. No, I know, bro. These brothers lost the light. All right, so let me pull this up. Much love, family. Believe that, know that. All right. Let me pull this on up for y'all real quick. Let's work. Let's work. Let's work. All right, for y'all that don't know, we've been going over the historicity of the Nazarene sect, Nazarene Essene literature. All right, we in the prologue, the introduction, and the historical preface in this. Somebody said something about the text in my phone. I don't even got your, I don't know, servants with a sword. I don't even text nobody. Don't play fed games. Who are fed? The hell is you talking about? You are look. I don't even text you. Shit, I don't even think I got your number. So all you can do, look, all you got to do is keep it moving or unsubscribe. Ain't nobody text you. I ain't text you. For sure. So keep that to yourself. No, what you on? And look, if you got a problem since you claiming niggas is feds, what's up? And we can do a spiritual wager, me and you. And whoever wrong can't teach no more. What's up? Well, text NehemiYAH with that. NehemiYAH ain't even in the chat, I don't think. Or he may be. But text him with all that. And like I say, that go for you and anybody else running with you. Whoever got a problem, come catch this fade then. And if you ain't ready, you just ain't ready. Keep quiet, keep it moving, or you can unsubscribe. Nigga, but ain't nobody no fed over here. I don't know what the hell you on. All right, anyway, the gospel of the Nazarenes. All right, so this is where we going. Fed gang. What the hell is wrong with this nigga? I'm about feds. All right, so that's where we going first. All right, we got all the way up to slide 35 last time, so let me pull that up. Niggas always talking like they about all that. Nigga, you learn from us. What is you talking about? Nigga learn from us, but won't catch no fade though. All right, let's get to it. Or go call your elders. Tell them what's up. They don't want none either. So let's get to it. Anyway, gospel of the Nazarenes. Oh, dang, my bad, y'all. Slid past it there. Right here. All right, the gospel of the Nazarenes, prologue, historical context. Yeah, let me know when you're ready to catch that fade since you got a sword. You got a butter knife. Tell me you got a sword. Anyway, gospel of the Nazarene, prologue, historical context. All right, so we ended right here last time. All right, so right here it says, if nothing else, what this proves is that as late as the mid-17th century, I don't know nothing about no federal. I'm just federal. That sound like some that sound like some shit your elders made up. Talk about I'm federal. Anyway, if nothing else, what this proves is that as late as the mid-17th century, an Aramaic/Hebrew original or some derivative thereof was still in existence. Most importantly, the quote from Scotus can be found in chapter 5, 9 through 10 of the Gospel of the Nazarenes, more or less. So then look at this. Yeah, we can talk face to face. Put it this way, we can go live face to face. And look, put the wager on it, Ed. If you wrong, you got to come to class. You can't teach nothing no more. You got to shut that whole thing down in Indiana. Let's do it like that. And if I'm wrong, I'll shut down in humility down. You ain't got to block out. No, don't block him. But he ain't ready, though. He learned from us. He ain't ready. Trust me. And he ain't got no sword. Now, look at this. Church fathers, anti-Nicaea and pro-Nicaea. So before the Nicene era and during the Nicene era, church fathers, scholars, and historians from Papias, look at this, lived in 110, disciple of John the Apostle, to Sedelia Scotus in 1660. You feel me? You see this? So that right there is over 1,500 years. All mention the Gospel of the Nazarenes by its many different titles: Gospel of the Hebrews, Ebionites Hebrew, and a Hebrew Matthew. You see that? Y'all see this? So right there is 1,500 years of the Nazarene, Essene sect, the literature being spoken of. Let's go to the next one. All right. Let's go to the most recent authorities. Prologue, historical context. Most recent authorities concerning the Aramaic/Hebrew original. During the last century, many researchers have been perplexed by these same historical questions. Our first quotes come from a turn of the century scholar who, in criticizing Epiphanius, several times mentions what he calls an apocryphal Gospel of James, which Epiphanius refers to, though vaguely, if insignificantly quoted from this gospel, nevertheless manages the same disappearing act as so many of the original pre-Nicene scrolls. So when you get into Epiphanius lived during the 4th century as well. All right. Now, the 4th century is the 300s. So we talking 1,700 years ago. These men are speaking on the Nazarene way. All right. So this ain't nothing new. This ain't like, you know what I mean? They like, oh man, the white man came up with this in the 90s and Edmund Zizeki wrote the Essene gospel. No, look, that shows me y'all not paying attention and not doing any type of research. These men are not the authors of these books. And that's how you know. And ain't nobody did nothing in depth and detailed and debunk what we bring out. Nobody. Straight up. So watch this. Dr. G.R.S. Mead, B.A.M.R.A.S., who is best known for his highly acclaimed Pistis Sophia. Trip off this. In another of his works on the subject, Did Jesus Live in 100 BC, discusses some of the evidence concerning an Aramaic Hebrew original or originals. These Nazarene, meaning Nazarenes, look at this. These Nazarene, as Epiphanius calls them in Greek, were exceedingly learned in Hebrew, and all their writings apparently were in Hebrew or Aramaic. But when Epiphanius, leaves the vague ground of the New Testament and comes to documents, he can only name one gospel, which he claims to have been the Hebrew original of the gospel according to Matthew. He like, look, Nazarenes wrote Hebrew, spoke Hebrew, wrote in Aramaic. So this is Epiphanius, a church historian, letting you know, 1,700 years ago, letting you know. He can only name one gospel, which he claims to have been the Hebrew original of the gospel according to Matthew, a book which was known to his contemporary Jerome, who came out with the Latin Vulgate in 410 or something like that, and a copy which was in the library found by Pamphilus at Caesarea. This quote, taken from chapter 17 on the tracts of the earliest Christians in the section subtitled The Hebrew Gospel, speaks for itself. So directly, it needs no commentary. In the following paragraph, however, Mead begins engaging in the age-old controversy / debate by scholars as to whether or not there was one or more of these so-called Aramaic originals. Look at that. Y'all see this? This Aramaic original of Matthew, y'all, they talking about is the Gospel of the Nazarenes. It just had several names. And how we know is because these church fathers quote directly out of it. The very book you brothers and sisters have, they quoting out of it 1,700 years ago, 1,800 years ago, 1,600 years ago. So if anything, and if anything, you understand, this shows not just the authenticity, but the historicity. Like, this ain't nothing we just came up with, or we just, you understand, this right here been around. And your church fathers who were monumentous in deciding what books were going to the New Testament and what wouldn't, knew about the Nazarene literature. And they all understand that the Nazarenes are the first followers of Yahshua HaMashiach. What are we talking about here? The very men that were instrumental in agreeing on what books go in the New Testament all knew of the Nazarene Gospels and Acts. So what are we really talking about here? Huh? What are we really? They know, even though they didn't agree on it being in the Bible. Yes, the New Testament was something that was agreed upon. That's why you got New Testament writings that are not in your authorized Bible, because they didn't make the cut. You gotta ask yourself, who are these men and who gave them the authority to agree on Hebrew records? And what is canon and what's, you feel me, heretical? What gave them the understanding on that? Who gave them the authority on that? You know what I mean? Now watch this. It says right here. It says, I'm going to say it again. He can only name one gospel, which he claims to have been the Hebrew original of the gospel according to Matthew, a book which was known to his contemporary Jerome and a copy of which was in the library found by Pamphilus at Caesarea. This quote taken from chapter 17 on the tracts of the earliest Christians and the section subtitled The Hebrew Gospel. Look at this. The Hebrew Gospel speaks for itself so directly. It needs no commentary. In the following paragraph, however, me begins engaging in the age-old controversy / debate by scholars as to whether or not there was one or more of these so-called Aramaic originals. Next slide. Referred to by Epiphanius and Jerome, and which the later translated into Greek. So Jerome translated the Gospel of the Nazarenes into Greek. Look at this. But what was the original language of the Gospel of the Nazarene? It was Aramaic. Or Hebrew. Aramaic being the sister language of the Hebrew, you know, man. But look at this. And Latin. So it says Jerome, in which the latter translated into Greek and Latin, but kept back because its striking divergences from canonical Matthew were not profitable to disclose. You see why they held that back? You see why they held that back? The canonical Matthew, y'all, is the Matthew that's in the canon. It's the Matthew that the authorities agreed upon to be in the Bible. But Jerome and Epiphanius kept back this Gospel of the Nazarenes because of its striking differences, divergences from canonical Matthew were not profitable to disclose. To disclose the Gospel of the Nazarenes. In other words, the Hebrew Gospel or the Gospel of the Nazarenes is a threat to orthodoxy. It's a threat to mainstream Catholicism and mainstream Hebrew Israelitisms. Because the Nazarene gospel has striking differences from what's in the canon. Y'all understand so far? Give me a 9 up in the chat. You know, we ain't trying to lose nobody. Bless up. Trying to lose nobody. Bless up. King Kong Buddha, Yehuda B. Let Negro know I ain't no damn federal agent. Negro, please. Hey, look, if anybody want to see my discovery, when I got jammed up, my bros and seen it. I had a 100-page discovery. What you mean? Shit, them bastards did they homework on me. Is they looking at you? What you talking about? Them bastards came at me like I was raising up a mini Taliban around St. Louis. My motion and discovery 100 pages, Jack. What you mean? And ain't nobody in my paperwork snitching. Nobody. What is you talking about? Shit, they did their homework when they came for honor and humility, boy, and we still here. What this nigga talking about? A federal agent. Boy, you sound crazy. Anyway, yeah, I see you still listening. All right, now watch this. Not profitable to disclose, question mark. Not profitable to whom? The church, naturally, because it challenged the beliefs crafted in the Nicene Creed and jeopardized the authority asserted by its creators. You see this? You see this? Oh, yeah, DC Sniper, you know what it is, man. Guppies can't swim with the sharks. You already know. The church, naturally. So when he was saying it's not profitable to bring out the gospel of the Nazarenes because it wouldn't profit the church. Naturally, because it challenged. Yeah, what men don't like it, that you don't like to be challenged because it challenged the beliefs crafted in the Nicene Creed and jeopardized the authority asserted by its creators. This creed was obviously not included in the original, nor for that matter in any Aramaic Matthew or other pre-Nicene originals. Look at this. Look at this. Ooh, wait. So it's saying that this understanding, y'all, it jeopardizes, it threatens. And that's why everybody in the uproar. Everybody in the uproar. And you see, yeah, you challenge. You got to put that flesh down and everything. Yahshua ain't chewing the flesh and blood. Me continues. Hilgenfeld holds that the Nazarene gospel, according to the Hebrews, was different from the Hebrew gospel according to Matthew, while Lipsius, on the contrary, maintains that the two titles refer to one and the same document. Look at this. Look at this. In light of the evidence, one would tend to be in close agreement with Lipsius. Most, if not all, of these various designations, i.e. gospel of the Nazarenes by any spelling. Look at this. Gospel of the Hebrews, gospel of the Holy 12, or Aramaic Matthew. And if y'all seeing these underlines, man, y'all see this, right? Y'all see this, right? That you see the underline. This is out my book. I'm not just reading something I pulled up online. I'm reading y'all something that I've actually read and studied. You understand? Now watch this. Gospel of the Hebrews, Gospel of the Holy 12, or Aramaic Matthew. To name a few, are either closely related versions of the same gospel, merely penned by different scribes from different subsects of the same basic philosophy at different times, or simply various designations given at different times by a host of various church fathers and historians concerning one and the same scroll. What is important here, of course, is the contents of any particular writing rather than a preoccupation with what it may be titled. The essential point is the fact that the beliefs or philosophical views of these Nazarenes and other Essenic offshoots, as was, trip off this, substantially proven in the multiplicity of quotes from their own writings above, coincide with each other. Look at this. Look at this. Coincide with each other and stand out unmistakably from those promulgated by the church. It is equally self-evident that views which began sometime during the reign of Irenaeus, I got his work too. Look at this. It is equally self-evident that views which began sometime during the reign of Irenaeus, who died in 220 AD and were written in stone at the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, were a sharp departure from the edicts and principles of the way. The way is what Yahshua taught. Letting you know, all the church historians, all this stuff they forming after Messiah, that's a sharp departure from what was going on in Jerusalem. You understand? The Nazarene disciples and apostles that was running the Temple Mount, even when Paul came back up to Jerusalem in Acts 15 chapter. They had control of the entire Temple Mount. You see, so it's saying that what was written in stone, the Council of Nicaea, is a sharp departure from the edicts and principles of the way as espoused by the original Nazarene movement, whose leadership was passed on by Yahshua to his brother Yaakov, James, and Shimon Kepha, Simon Peter. Look at this. What you got at the Council of Nicaea, what you got right here, or what was agreed upon at the Council of Nicaea, is not the original way. And Nicaea just didn't agree on, okay, well, dang, what day is Easter? You dig? And when I say Nicaea, y'all, I'm not just talking about that council. They had councils from 325 AD all the way into 1960, forming Catholicism and Christianity. You know what I mean? So I ain't just talking about like certain things that are allowed in. I'm talking about even the selection of what would be considered New Testament. It's saying what was written in stone or started at the Council of Nicaea is a sharp departure out of the original way that Yahshua taught. If y'all understand that, give me an 8 up in the chat. All right. All right. Ooh, wait. Oh, good. Hey, Ed, that's what's up. Come catch this fade, though. And you don't need to spill no blood for me. I'm good. But come catch this fade. Pull your sword, and let's go ahead and get this spiritual blood flowing. What's up? Once you've been to study something, well, come on with it. Since you disagree, Line it on up. Yeah, the last one was like 68, something like that. But just like most cats, man, everybody run their mouth, bro, but they don't want to get down, That's my thing. Let's get down. All right. Now watch this. The Nazarene gospel belongs to an early stage of evangelical literature. Scholars believe that it was earlier than the canonical Matthew. There it is. So when I came out last year and was like, look, man, the gospel of the Holy 12 or the Nazarene, that's older than your New Testament that you have in your Bible. Boy, these Negroes ready to hang me off the Gateway Arch for saying that. Dang. That's what it do. You know what I mean? But hey, we still here showing and proving. 80 Nazarene editions in, and we still going. So all praises to the Most High. If what we was talking about was of our own, we'd have been ran out of gas. All them cats talk crazy about it. All of them ran out of gas. I talked to one of them a couple months ago. He straight told me, like, hey, you did call all us out and we didn't show up. I said, yeah, well, the offer still stands. The offer still stands. What's up? Oh, okay. I'm going to go gather up a few more misfits and get back to you. And he never did. And the people he named, I'm like, come on, you know, they not even ready. What is you? You know what I mean? So look at Lisa Edwards. Look at them notes. I do that with our books too. Yeah. I got to, you know, I always put my marks up in there. Y'all know what it is. All right, so this is telling you right here that the Nazarene literature is older than your canonical Matthew. That's what they agreed on. All right. It's interesting to note that Jerome, who accepted the view prevalent in the early church that St. Matthew's gospel was originally written in Hebrew, was at first disposed to think that in the Nazarene gospel, he had discovered the lost original of the canonical book. One of the most important of the non-canonical writings he found it in use among the Nazarenes in a Hebrew Christian community in Syria. It was written what? In Aramaic. And y'all, this is in Jerome time. Jerome lives in the late 300s or mid 300s to the early 400s. So we talking about what? Mid 4th century, early 5th century. All right, y'all, we talking 16 to 1700 years ago. And the Nazarenes are still in effect. And Jerome, a church historian, knows about them. And guess what he's saying? It's written in Aramaic. Man, yeah, you come see me face to face, boy. You already, like when I came and saw you face to face in Indianapolis at Mikael Barbershop. Nah, absolutely. It ain't nothing to get down face to face. And we can get it done. Orbs of light in the video. Yep, you came and set in on the barbershop chop shop. I'm new to, I ain't new to this. I true to it. Anyway, watch this. This statement from the Apocryphal Gospel section, the history of Christian. And I see you still in her. What is you doing in her? What is you doing in her? That might you don't want to. Yeah, you being taught. That's what's happening. Yeah, you probably got your notes out and everything. What is you doing up in this chat if what we saying is false? You should have been got up out of here and unsubscribed and exit stage left. You still here. All right. Yeah, I know. You over here learning. That's what's up. All right, sit on down and learn. Nothing wrong with it. All right. This statement from the Apocryphal Gospel section of the history of Christianity in the light of modern knowledge by Reverend Adam Findlay, M.A.D.D., though posed by numerous predecessors, nevertheless sets both a tone and a standard for 20th century scholarship on the subject. In another statement, Findlay reiterates and expands the most primitive. Look at this. Look at this. The most primitive of the non-canonical gospels, the gospel of the Nazarenes, was in use up to the end of what? The 4th century. Good night. Y'all, the end of the 4th century is 300, the end of the 300s. Going into the 5th century, the 400s. It says the most primitive, the oldest of the non-canonical gospels, meaning they wasn't agreed upon by the Roman authorities. The gospel of the Nazarenes was in use up to the end of the 4th. Wow. 4th century. In a community which set special store by it, Another, a Gospel of Peter, which was episcopally condemned at the close of the 2nd century, was found in an Egyptian grave. Look at this. We follow Finlay with another early to mid 20th century biblical historian. Dr. Edgar J. Goodspeed, who is best known for his scholarly apocryphal translations from his history of early Christian literature. That's a book. Yeah. And when y'all see a B next to it, that's a book. Go get that. All right. Now look at this. Eusebius lists this gospel among the disputed or non-conforming books. Jerome, toward the close of the century, could not find a Greek copy of it, but saw an Aramaic text of it in Palestine. Look at that, which he says he translated into Greek and Latin, probably meaning for the parts he wished to copy or use in his works. This Aramaic version, so often regarded as the original, was for the use of the Hebrew Christian sects, perhaps Ebionites, more probably Nazarene. Nazarenes, more probably Nazarenes, who in the 3rd century, 200s, were using the book and finally gave their name to it, so that it came to be known as the Gospel of the Nazarenes. Epiphanes says that the Nazarenes, or Gnostic Hebrew Christians, used a gospel resembling Matthew. This gospel disappeared probably sometime during the latter part of the 3rd, early part of the 4th century. Look at this. Look at this. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. Look at this, boy. So we can throw out the window all that madness, me and talking about, we got this from the white man, and look, stop all that. But look, this is what I will tell you. It ain't a piece of book or literature nobody is touching in this earth that a white man had his hands on. Say it again. There ain't a book or a piece of literature in this earth, especially if you're talking about spiritual matters, that the white man ain't had his hands on. Name it. What you think? The Bible? You think? So you are gonna tell me the white man didn't have his hands on the Bible? Stop it. We all know better than that. We know better than that. So even the excuse, the white man, look, go pull it. Was you gonna pull a Strong's Concordance, just James Strong, or white man? Was you gonna pull a King James Bible? Well, King James may have not been a heathen, but you think all the translators were mysteriously Hebrew Israelites from the 4th tribe of Yehudah? And if so, that's the same king that sanctioned the slave trade. Stop it. So regardless of the fact who you call Europeans or Caucasians have had their hands on your records, what you gonna go get me the Rosetta Stone? What you gonna go get me the Medu Netta, or or even if you're translating Medu Netta, right? What reference are you using? Wallace Budge and them, or who? Maybe it ain't them, but you still using a reference to translate ancient works that don't come from no Israelites. Period. You see that? Now watch this. It is interesting to note that this is just about the time of the final tune-up to the Nicene reconstruction. The Nicene reconstruction of the original Gospels started in 325 AD. Notice it says reconstruction. So we can't act like what we have wasn't something that was agreed upon gradually. Yeah. Reconstruction. Because things got to fit. Things got to fit with the agenda of those who are ruling. All right? Now watch this. It says right here. It says, it is interesting to note that this is just about the time of the final tune-up to the Nicene reconstruction of the original Gospels, started in 325 AD. After nearly a century of turbulent apocalyptic debate, after nearly 100 years of turbulent apocalyptic debate, the correctors, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. The correctors. What are they correcting? The correctors finally agreed upon content and promptly added John's revelation. So you mean to tell me that Revelations wasn't even the last book in the Bible at first? And it was added, like it was agreed upon, or added as they start holding more and more councils. Think it's a lie? Go look up Codex Sinaiticus, the oldest existing New Testament that you have from the 3rd or 4th century. Go look it up and go look at its contents. It'll blow your mind. The last book in that New Testament, which is the oldest New Testament around. The last book of the Bible on earth, the Shepherd of Hermes. Huh? Huh? Look at this. It's the correctors finally agreed upon content and promptly added John's revelation with his foreboding epithet. If any man shall add or take away from the words of this, hold on, y'all, of this book, it may also be of interest here to note that St. Jerome completed the Latin Vulgate in 405 AD. See this? Wait. We return here to Dr. Hugh Schoenfield in his quake-rendering best-selling seller, The Passover Plot, 1965. And y'all, these are modern people who are testifying about the gospel of the Nazarenes. We already went into the ancient. Easy work. And this is part 3 of this series. All right. Now look at this. Y'all in the chat talking that DC talk. Wait, hey, Slim. Hey, Slim. Boy, Nehemiah know about that, Slim. Hey, Slim. Anyway, let's get it. So this is a book written by Hugh Schoenfield, 1965. Since the find of a substantial collection of Gnostic manuscripts in Egypt, notably the Gospel of Thomas with its sayings of Yahshua, some of which were previously known from the fragmentary Oxyrhynchus papyri, the view has been strongly favored that part of this material derived from Hebrew Christian sources and reached Egypt from Palestine. There are links with the Nazarene Gospel of the Hebrews, which came to be regarded by some as the Hebrew original of Matthew. All right. The single issue has made a considerable impression on Dr. Schoenfield and led him to conduct further research, as in his next book on the subject nearly a decade later, The Jesus Party. Y'all need to go get all this stuff. Man, look, this stuff is some good reading. You know what I mean? He mentions or refers to the gospel in question no less than 20 times. To make a variety of different points, comparing it to the New Testament and the organized church, especially concerning their views of Yahshua's manhood/godhood. Look at this. Papyrus. All right. AD 110. We got the beginning of the 2nd century. Papyrus, right? Slim Mo Bob, yon. Hey, man, don't get me started, man. Boy, I about blew up. Boy, when I heard somebody from DC called NehemiYAH Slim, boy, I ain't laughed that hard, boy, since I was 2. Hey, Slim. I say, oh, no. Oh, praise though, man. Hey, Shalom, Nee. What's the word, out? Bless up. All right, watch this. Papyrus stated that Matthew had composed the oracles relating to Yahshua in the Hebrew language, and that everyone explained them to the best of their ability. We are aware from Justin Martyr and others that such testimonia, utilizing the Greek Septuagint version of the Old Testament, were considerably added to by Christians, especially to confute the Jews. We follow up this quote from chapter 5 under Pontius Pilate with an earlier one from chapter 2, evidence in chief. Watch this. Watch this. We rolling. Hold on. Is that the right one? Yeah, that's the right one. Look at this. Look at this. Got that book hit up, boy. All praises. I got word from my brother Yosef Evans yesterday about our brother that be in the chat, YAH2613. Yeah, that bro coming home, man. That bro coming home at the end of this year after being down for like 17 years. So may the Creator expedite his delivery, man. Tell that brother we got a lot of work to do, man. I love to hear that brother's getting out that clink, boy. Ain't no place for none of the brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? We learn from Epiphanius that the Ebionite Nazarenes had their own Acts of the Apostles. Right. What do you think we read out of? Huh? Nazarene Acts of the Apostles. See that? Epiphanius 1600 years ago is on record saying, yeah, the Nazarene, them brothers, they got their own Acts. Wow. We learn from Epiphanius that the Ebionite Nazarenes had their own Acts of the Apostles, together with a work called the Essene of Jacob or James. That's Yahshua's brother. The contents of these books infuriated Epiphanius, like it infuriated these brews today. Infuriated Epiphanius. See, but Epiphanius is a church father who was instrumental in agreeing on what is considered canon and what's not. So he's saying this Nazarene understanding infuriated this church father who was all in with the Nicene Creed and everything. You see this? It says right here. It says right here, Bane. Infuriated Epiphanius since they gave a different picture of early Christian affairs to what was in Luke's Acts. So the church historian acknowledged that the Nazarenes had their own Acts, but it infuriates them because it's polar opposite to the Acts you have in your Bible. You see this? I want to make sure y'all getting understanding, though. If you're getting understanding, give us a 7 up in the chat. We ain't trying to lose nobody up in here. What you've seen is this Nazarene Essene way of living goes back, y'all. This is ancient. And this is 1st century. Now, Palestine was a war zone. That war against Rome during the 1st century was serious. Over 1 million lives were lost. 1 million. Between 66 CE of the Common Era all the way up to 73 CE. Over 1 million lives were lost in that war, man. That's serious. That ain't nothing to play around with. That ain't nothing you sneeze at. So the fact brothers are still in the 4th century out here, you know. But look, our Gospels and Acts are different than what the authorities agreed upon. See, we got a code. You understand? Our view of the Most High is he don't condone warfare and bloodshed. He don't condone chewing on animals. He's all about his creation. You want to learn about the Most High? You go outside and study his creation. You want to know more about the Most High? Study yourself. Study your anatomy. So whatever you read that don't line up with his creation, then you got to bring that into question. That's how the Nazarenes roll, because they learned that way and that methodology from Yahshua. You understand? They was totally against what the sacrificial cult was doing in Jerusalem. Totally against it. Totally against it. All right, now watch this. Watch this. It says right here. It says, Epiphanius elsewhere gives us the information that the Yahudim of Tiberias in the 4th century had in their archives the Hebrew Matthew, that's the Gospel of the Nazarenes, the Hebrew Acts, that's the Nazarene Acts of the Apostles, and a Hebrew book of John, apparently a form of the Revelation in the New Testament. Look at this. You see that? Look at this. Cal P in the building. Bless up, King. Kila Olam Kasdo in the building. Bless up, my beloved sister. Bless up. Bless up. Hey, that's right, Francis Peter. Spirits is still in total chaos behind that war. Spirits birthed into chaos. 1 million souls lost their lives during that Roman Yahudi war in 66 CE, between 66 of the Common Era to 73 CE. In a 6-year, 7-year span, over 1 million lives were lost. That ain't nothing to play around with. That ain't nothing to play around with. Now watch this right here. And finally, starting with the very first paragraph of chapter 29, Meeting Place. Look at this. Another book, The Meeting Place. The Nazarenes who were the Hebrew adherents of Yahshua. Look at this. Look at this. The Nazarenes who were the Hebrew adherents of Yahshua were still very active and flourishing in the 4th century AD. Look at this. Running around here talking about we just made this up. Why you think ain't none of these men stepped up and caught this fade yet? Look, guppies can't swim with the sharks. I'm going to keep it real with you. Most of them guppies. It just sound good when the camera catches them. It just sound good. Or you may have a whole bunch of followers and adherents, and y'all all dress up like the Boy Scouts. The Nazarenes are the first adherents to Mashiach because he was a Nazarene. Look at it. When Epiphanes and Jerome were acquainted with them, I read it again. The Nazarenes, who were the Hebrew adherents of Yahshua, were still very active and flourishing in the 4th century AD. That's the 300s. That's during the Council of Nicaea time. When Epiphanes and Jerome were acquainted with them, their communities and synagogues were spread out over an arc extending from the Syrian coast through northern Transjordan down into Perea. That's dealing with modern day Jordan. They were in possession of and used exclusively. Meaning they wasn't dealing with what the authorities put together. Exclusively a gospel in Aramaic known to the church fathers as the Hebrew Matthew or Gospel of the Hebrews. See this? The Gospel of the Hebrews is the Gospel of the Nazarenes. Look at that. Y'all, we got these cats talking about this 1,700 years ago, and they don't agree with it. They don't even agree with it because it goes against what they all decided to go with. But nonetheless, they're talking about the Nazarene literature. They're talking about the Nazarene sect. They're admitting it's older than what they put out. They admitting the Nazarenes, Ebionites, and Essenes are the original Hebrew followers of Messiah. They admitting this stuff. Wow. Wow, but we made this up, though. Oh, man, them brothers lost the light and all that. All right, well, come shine the light then. Come catch the fade. Come swing swords with the Nazarene brothers. Huh? But now, guess what you gonna do? Guess what's gonna happen? Niggas gonna shut up and be quiet. Watch. Ain't nobody. I'm talking about, and I know these cats. None of them, since we've been putting this out, none of them have stepped up and said, all right, what's up? Let's get it. Because if the shoe was on the other foot, you already know I'm coming. And I've been coming. What's up? Let's get it. Let's talk. Let's get it done. You ain't ready for it. I know. Guppies can't swim with the sharks. I understand. And the reason why all y'all making that noise on social media is this. Because hit dogs holler. That's why. Huh? And the empty wagon make the most noise. Believe that. You empty. You ain't full of no substance. That's why your wagon making all that noise. But you really ain't about that. Because if you was, you'd have been like, all right, let's get it. Let's get it. And guess what? We gonna set it up and we gonna get it done. It's just that simple. And I'm not camera shy. We can do it publicly or privately. Matter of fact, I ain't even doing no more privates. Since everybody got a problem, everybody that got a question or want to dialogue got to catch this publicly. I ain't doing no more private sessions. Nah. If you disagree and you claim we going off and you huddling up in your little circles over there, making your little Facebook posts about it, I ain't doing no more privates. Head up, gloves off, publicly in front of everybody. That's how we gonna get down. And if I'm wrong, I'm willing not to teach again. I'll be your student. I don't think you can be more fair than that, can you? Huh? I don't think you can be more, fair than that. The more sectarian Ebionites seem to have employed the same gospel with certain variations from quotations which have preserved parts of the text. This work had correspondences with Matthew, more particularly, but also with Luke. It also contained independent traditions and alternative readings to the canonical writings. Since the Passover was one of the 3 Hebrew festivals, the brothers of Yahshua must also have been there. Indeed, the Gospel of the Hebrews, or aka the Gospel of the Nazarenes, according to Jerome, claimed that Yeshua's brother, James, Yaakov, who became the leader of the Nazarenes, had taken part in the Last Supper or the last meal. Look at this. We almost done for this one, y'all. All right. Now look at this. Historical context. All right. What we got going on so far. Yeah, empty wagon make the most noise. My Akshem. Cosmon Cal, yep, absolutely. Nakam my Barak, my beloved elder, bless up. Now watch this. The Gospel of the Nazarene, prologue, historical context. This quote reflects much of what has been said previously about James concerning his role in the Nazarene movement. Look at this. In 1963, a book entitled The Prophet of the Dead Sea Scrolls was written by Dr. U.C. Ewing. Go get that book, y'all. A theologian whom Albert Schweitzer referred to as the Renaissance of Leonardo da Vinci. Dr. Ewing was an architect, sculptor, and painter of note as well. Being somewhat of a mentor on this topic, Dr. Ewing states, look at this. Look at this. The first gospel was set down in Aramaic, not in Greek. But y'all, the New Testament is in Greek. The New Testament you had today was written in Greek. But all the scholars know that, you talking about Hebrew people. You talking about Nazarenes. You talking about Yeshua. These men historically spoke Hebrew and Aramaic. Even though they could understand Greek or maybe speak a little Greek, they definitely didn't write in Greek. So now you got to ask, who wrote the New Testament? And y'all don't mean there ain't Jews that to be had in it. You know, it's Jews to be had in everything. But if it go against creation, it's going against the Creator. Believe that. All right, now watch this. The first gospel was set down in Aramaic, not in Greek. It featured the mother tongue of Yeshua and the brethren of the scrolls. And the brethren of the scrolls. What scrolls? Dead Sea Scrolls. Look at this. It was used by the Essene followers of Yeshua, who are known as the Nazarenes. The Ebionites, i.e. the Palestinian or Hebrew Christians under the leadership of James, Yeshua's brother. Look at this. Everybody know, man, we the last ones catching up. Out here talking about some chapter and verse and all that, man. Look, you need to really understand the nature of your Creator. Once you do that, you can navigate properly. All right? I'm going to tell you like this. The Most High ain't with all that killing of infants. And I ain't with all that. He ain't with all that. Killing infants and sucklings and animals. And just, no, he ain't with none of that. Look, even if you go check Egypt. When it was time for us to leave Egypt, guess what? Israel ain't have to go pull swords and put down no Egyptians. What the Most High do? He just recalled the spirit. The Most High don't need you to go put no sword to nothing he created and lay it down. Is you crazy? So when you read stuff like go utterly kill infants and spare not, that ain't the Most High. That's the pen of a false scribe that's inspired by a false God. You understand? That has made his way into the scripture. Absolutely. That ain't the Most High. You know what I mean? These Negroes out here telling them they'll kill children. Huh? No, that ain't how true God rolled. That ain't how the Nazarenes and them roll. That ain't how Yeshua rolled. Our people done took on the characteristics of these hateful, vindictive, bloodthirsty gods and mingling that with the Most High. And you wonder why the behavior in Israel is the way it is. You wonder why. Ewing echoing and reiterating much of what has been said all along continues. Thus it was referred to by Jerome, Epiphanius, and others as the Gospel of the Nazarenes. That's right. Gospel of the Holy 12, Ebionites, and Hebrews. The last meaning the gospel used by the Hebrew Christians are those connected with the word as it came sweet and clean from the mouth of Yahshua himself. Look at that. Look at that. So it's not the same. What you're looking at is what they call a Western or Romanized or romanticized Christianity. It ain't got nothing to do with the bros who was catching hell. You understand? For bringing out the true light of the Creator 2,000 years. It ain't got nothing to do with that. They got nothing to do with that. And you wonder why so many different sects and different beliefs and camps and congregations within Israel alone, let alone Christianity. Stop it. Stop it. Nazarenes dealt with it as it came from Yahshua's mouth. Period. Now look at this. Ian Wilson writes in chapter 1 of Jesus, the evidence, or Yahshua, the evidence, discovering the documents. The canonical gospel writer Luke mentions 1:1-2 that in his time there were many other gospels in existence. Huh? Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. It tell you in Luke chapter 1, verse 1-2, that in his time there were many other gospels in existence, most of which have been unfortunately lost to us. The writings of the early church fathers provide clues to the existence of a few of these: a gospel of the Hebrews, a gospel according to, a gospel according to the Egyptians, and a gospel of the Ebionites, apparently strongly opposed to the writings of the apostle Paul. Look at this. Look at this. This ain't nothing to play with, man. This ain't nothing to play with. This historically speaking, y'all. This ain't got nothing to do with your feelings, or it's historically speaking. There's a difference between history and literature. There's a difference. All right. Now watch this. It says, apparently strongly opposed to the writings of the apostle Paul, mentioned in a condemnation of heresies by the 4th century writer Epiphanius. Clearly, the manuscripts discovered so far are but a drop in the ocean of early documentary material circulated about the Messiah. Wilson here is only warming up for an even more provocative criticism in chapter 2, the fallibility of the gospel. Shadi, that's another book. Check it out. Go check it out. It's nothing to be afraid of, man. What you gonna do? Find out you was doing something wrong, correct yourself? That's good. All right, now watch this. In some instances, it is as if a second generation has heavily altered first-hand material. Wow. Support for such an idea exists. He goes on to quote Papias from early in the 2nd century. Matthew compiled the sayings in the Aramaic language, and everyone translated them as well as he could. He then, I'm going to read that again. He goes on to quote Papias. Now, Papias is late 1st century, early 2nd century. You're talking about 110 AD when he was writing this stuff. All right. It says he goes on to quote Papias from early in the 2nd century. Matthew compiled the sayings, meaning the sayings of Messiah, in Aramaic, in the Aramaic language. Everyone translated them as well as he could. He then elaborates concerning certain similarities between Thomas and the gospel in question. Then, like so many others before and since, he begins suggesting its use as a predecessor, forerunner to later interpolations, including the 4 canonical gospels. So he is saying that the gospel of the Nazarenes is the predecessor or the forerunner to the synoptic gospels or the canonical gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Now, what he's saying, the original is presumed, along with so many other things that have been destroyed between the riots, look at this, of 66 AD, Rome, and the ultimate sacking of Jerusalem by Titus and his Roman troops in 70 AD. You see that? Look at this. So they either, all the records that Israel was holding is either burnt or guess what? Catacombs in Rome. Wow. For the final quote from modern scholars, we evoke the names of 3 of the more famous authors who have delved into this highly explosive subject matter: Michael Bajan, Henry Lincoln, and Richard Lay. known specifically for their provocative and controversial Holy Blood, Holy Grail. Another book. In chapter 8 of their equally provocative, if less exciting follow-up, Messianic Legacy, the survival of Nazarene teaching, echoes of Schoenfield abound. Here we go right here. In Constantine's time, Nazarene teaching was still thriving and being disseminated. The Bishop of Rome in AD 318 is reported to have had a meeting with Nazarene leaders, directly descended from Yahshua's family. Wow. So before the Council of Nicaea, Constantine had a meeting with the leaders of the whole Nazarene movement that were directly related to Yahshua. Directly related. So they knew about the bros, man. They just decided to do their own thing. All right, because this way of life doesn't promote the agenda of Rome. It's just what it is. Now watch this. They proceed to quote the respected church father historian Eusebius. So I got his work too. And we're going to slowly go through all these books too. They held that the epistle of the Apostle Paul ought to be rejected altogether. The Nazarenes didn't like Paul. And as your brother, that don't mean like, and I'm just speaking as a man, my personal opinion, that don't mean everything that's purportedly coming out of Paul's mouth is wrong. You dig? But there are things that he say that you need to question. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. He ain't, they even asked the Messiah question. So surely Paul can be questioned. Now look at this. So they didn't deal with Paul. They held that the epistle of the Apostle Paul ought to be rejected altogether, calling him a renegade from the law and using only the gospel of the Hebrews. They treated the rest with scant respect. You see that? They like, look, they don't even deal with Paul. We deal with the gospel of the Nazarenes or the gospel of the Hebrews. Everything else we question. We question. All right, now look at this. From other sources, almost done with this chop session, y'all. From other sources, we turn first to Hastings' Encyclopedia on Religion and Ethics and read. Lessing 1784. Wow, look at what I wrote up there. Gospel of the Nazarenes, the source of the canon Gospels. Wow. Lesson 1784. The first to realize the importance of the Gospel of the Hebrews finds here the original Hebrew, Matthew, mentioned by Papias in AD 110, and the primal source of all the other synoptic Gospels. And the primal source of all the other synoptic Gospels. Hilgenfeld calls it the punctum Archimedes of the whole synoptic problem, taking the place usurped by the Gospel of Mark. The Gospel of the Hebrews, or the Gospel as used by the Nazarenes, was called by many the authentic Matthew. Look at this. And Jerome wrote that. Authenticum Matholi, Jerome. Wow. It was written in Aramaic words and Hebrew letters, according to Hegesippus, AD 160. Look how far we going back here. How long we going to keep playing around like what we talking about don't go back? This go back. And even the enemies of the Nazarene movement are speaking about the Nazarene. So what we going to deal with? It was written in Aramaic words and Hebrew letters, according to Hegesippus, AD 160. Eusebius, like Origin, got both their works, implies that many reckon it canonical, while Hebrew Christians make use of this gospel and take small account of the others. The gospel, according to the apostles, the Holy 12, was used by the Ebionites and Nazarenes. Herein is found the Essene Messiah. Look at this. Look at this. So y'all, if anything, we putting y'all more on a more ancient path. You dig? And this path is, according to history, is the path or the way of Yahshua of Nazareth. Y'all, even his enemies are saying it. It's just that the Nazarene literature don't go along with the Roman agenda. Think about it. Can you imagine if the Roman Catholic Church came out right now and was like, look, all slaughterhouses are closed and all slaughtering of animals are condemned? Can you imagine if he came out and said that? Huh? How much support would be lost? People will lose their minds. Look at this. It says right here, he denounces sacrifice. Look at this. He denounces killing, sacrifice, and the eating of flesh. Yeah. That's why the Brews don't like the gospel of the Nazarenes and the Nazarene Acts and all that, because it challenged them beliefs, boy. It challenged them beliefs flat out, right in your face. Right? And you hoping that it's false. You hoping it ain't got nothing to do with the Most High. Huh? Instead of listening to your soul, listening to the voice of the Creator speaking through your soul, like, dang, that do make sense. Well, even in the Bible, while Yahshua was living, it ain't quoted nowhere that he ate no flesh. It's only after he resurrected, you got a fish story in there, and neither one of them, you got to question both of those stories because those don't add up. Those conflict with one another. One is at the Sea of Galilee, one is in Jerusalem. Sea of Galilee is 75 miles north of Jerusalem, and to walk there, it takes 4 days. So they can't be at the Sea of Galilee by the time the Messiah resurrected and back in Jerusalem the night he resurrected. It's impossible. It's impossible. Now watch this. It said right, he denounces sacrifice and eating the flesh. Jerome identifies this gospel with the gospel of the Hebrews, which identifies it with the gospel of, look at this, the Nazarenes. Wow, there it is. There it is. Hey, man, act like honor and humility been telling y'all to go sin and, man, go kill. Go commit harlotry. Huh? Go get you a whore. Go drink some blood. Go chew on some flesh. Think about the message that's been coming out. The message being like, no, y'all get on back to the beginning. Get in tune with the Most High's creation. Worship him. Follow the teachings of the Messiah. You understand? Watch out for the scribes and a lot of that stuff been compromised. So watch out. You dig? Never abandon common sense. Never abandon the voice of the Most High. Follow the words of Mashiach. But I'm going to hit you with something. The words of Messiah ain't just in the Bible. Yeah, I know y'all ready to hang me on that one. Lysippus accepts the statement of Jerome and is of the opinion that this gospel, in the form in which it was known to Epiphanius, Jerome, and Origen, was a copy of an older original written in Aramaic. And finally, from Encyclopedia Britannica. Where we at? Where we at? Dang. Yeah, no doubt, Brandon Carter. This name, however, cannot have been original, for the Hebrews themselves would not have used this designation. It may have been known simply as the gospel. The language was Western Aramaic, the mother tongue of Yahshua and his apostles. Watch this, y'all. Look at this. Based on all of the above information, and without adding yet unmentioned existing data, the evidence is overwhelming. The gospel, as taught, lived, and died for by the Nazarenes, by any spelling, Ebionites, and any offshoots of the immediate followers of Yahshua, i.e. the Jerusalem community, as run by his brother James, Yaakov, post-crucifixion leader of the Nazarenes. And that gospel, whose embryonic form took seed under post-Damascus Saul of Tarsus, Paul, after Jerusalem sacking in 70 AD, and whose final grid was solidified in stone at Nicaea in 325 AD and perpetuated in the blood of humans and animals alike for millennia, or obviously the Nazarene way and what Paul is doing, are obviously two entirely different sets of values concerning all of nature's kingdoms, and in particular, humanity's relationship to them. This paradox is fast becoming a major religious controversy between what modern research reveals to be the true Nazarite, Essene, / Nazarene doctrine of first century Palestine and what history reveals to be a 2nd to 4th century Greco-Roman mythology, traditionally known as, drum roll, Christianity. Oh, wait. Christianity is a 2nd to 4th century Greco-Roman mythology. It's not the Nazarene way that Messiah taught. That's not it. What you know today and what went down dealing with Paul and later with the Council of Nicaea and all that is a sharp departure from the way of Yahshua the Nazarene as taught by him in the 1st century. You see this? You see this? It ain't the same. It ain't just nowhere near the same. So y'all, you got to question that, man. You got to question that. We bring this stuff out because we love y'all. We don't get paid to do this. It ain't like, look, y'all, us bringing this out, we lost. We lost followers. We lost money. We lost support. We lost all that. And we perfectly fine with that. Because you ain't about no truth if you ain't willing to sacrifice. You ain't about no truth if you ain't willing to lose. Shed dead weight. You ain't about no truth. If you're afraid to lose because of what people may say about you, or you may lose money, or you may lose support, or in my case, you may even lose women. Huh? Oh, you supposed to be all soft in the back. Oh, I was just playing. I really ain't down with the Most High, the Creator, woman. I'm sorry. I should have checked in with you first. The hell out of her. What we've been bringing out is out of pure love, man. So you can be notified and understand what you're dealing with out here. Because there are naysayers. There are atheists who don't believe nothing you talking about, but more sharp in the history and more sharp in the text than you. You see that? Come on, man. You got to get yourself together. Like what we talking about, all you got to do is examine what's being said and ask yourself, what have them brothers said that's wicked, evil, or sinful? Them brothers ain't told you to go shed no blood. Them brothers ain't told you to go drink no blood. Them brothers ain't told you to go eat flesh. Them brothers ain't told you nothing that goes against the creation of the Almighty. These brothers are even challenging you to purify the Most High's temple, which is your body. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with us telling you, look, man, get away from all the paganism and stuff. Hey, watch out for a lot of them rituals the bruises doing. You know what was going on in the wilderness wasn't of the Most High. You do know that, right? You do know in Amos, the Most High say that wasn't me you were sacrificing to in the wilderness. That was Molech now. Nah? We do got in Psalms 95, verse 8 through 10, the whole time we was in the wilderness, we never knew the Creator's ways. Dang! He was grieved with us for a complete 40 years. He said, y'all never knew my ways. Well, whose ways did you know then? Because think about it. What all did you get in the wilderness? Once you identify that, you'll see, dang, that's what the modern Hebrew Israelite movement is based off of. The 40 years of walking in a circle in the wilderness. That's what it's about. And the Most High say through Amos, Isaiah's father, nah, that wasn't to me you were sacrificing to. You was carrying the tabernacle of Molech and Chiun, your God, your images you made to yourselves. Huh? What are you talking about? There go the false god right there, Molech. Oh, that ain't good enough. What about Hosea 2? Huh? Verse 14 on down to 18. What about that one? But the Most High talking about destroying the names of Baal out of our mouths. Once you're redeemed. Do you mean to tell me Baal was in the name of the mouth of the Israelites? Even today? Man, maybe not in name, but in what? Worship. See, you get caught up on the name so much, you never trip off the worship, the body of notes, the worship that's attached to the gods. You see this? You got Baal in Hosea 2. You got who? You got Molech and Chiun in Amos chapter 5. You got 1 Chronicles 21, Satan tempting David. Forget about Solomon. We all know good and well Solomon was dealing with the false gods. I mean, think about it. Think about it. To where Yahshua got to come and say, look, all that was before me were liars. Huh? You of your father, the devil, and the lust of your father you will do. He was a murderer from the beginning. Yahshua taught that murder is inspired by Satan, not the Most High. Hebrews, I heard talking about they'll kill a child. But Yahshua, right in the Bible, tell you, the murderer is Satan. It ain't my father. He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth. And when he speak of a lie, okay, so the lying spirits ain't sent by the Most High either. When he speak of a lie, he speaketh of his own. Messiah didn't teach that the Father was out here playing mind games with us. You want to know about murder? You want to know about lying? Hey, go holler at Slick Willie himself. He the one that inspired all that, not the Most High. You see that? Y'all, we ain't making none of this up. You got to know the character of the Most High. You got to know the Most High is all-knowing. So anything that explains him as being ignorant, you got to scratch that, or you got to question that. You got to believe the Most High is omnipotent, all strength. So any verse that identifies him as being weak, you got to question that. You got to scratch that. The Most High is righteous. Inspires you to be righteous. Wants you to walk in this marvelous light. So anything that's saying the Most High is evil, and he playing mind games on that, you got to scratch that and question that. Either he's the all in all, the ever present, the all person, always was, is, and shall be, or he LaDur on them over there. He Lil Willie in them right there. That somebody can make into an image. You can't make the Most High into no image. What did Yahshua teach? The Most High is a spirit, and those that worship him must worship him in what? Spirit and truth. Ain't supposed to be no damn images up of the divine or the Most High. None. Ooh-wee. I know somebody mad, but y'all be all right, man. You did understand that and know that. All right, so that's the end of the Gospel of the Nazarenes, the introduction section, the prologue section, and all that. You dig? We got more we're gonna get into. Give y'all an example, so maybe y'all can look up some of this stuff until the next time. I'm gonna show y'all a little something what we're gonna be dealing with. This right here. Hey man, look, I study games deep. We ain't playing no games with nobody. All right. Show y'all just a little something. I was gonna go into some of this today, but nah. Another one of my books. That's me holding my book. Nazarene and Post-Nazarene Father, second series. See that? Nazarene and Post-Nazarene Fathers. You really need to get into that. Theodoret, Jerome, Grenadius, and Rufinus. Historical writings. You did get into that so you can understand what's really going on, man. And you'll start realizing, hold on, it's a difference between the history. You know what I mean? It's a difference between the history and the and literature. That's the cover of the book right there. I'm gonna give y'all a dagger real quick. Hold on. Give y'all just one of these real quick so we can get up out of here. Since everybody think we playing games. Son. Let me show y'all something real quick. Let me show y'all something about James. All right. All right, not Theodoret. That's another one. That's good. Look at that. This the Ebionites and Nazarenes mentioned 1,700 years ago. We're going to get into it, though, but I want to show y'all. Here go Jerome right here. Okay, now in the same book, Jerome has something called, and I'm going to go more into this my next live I go into, all right? Jerome and Grenadius, Lives of Illustrious Men. Yeah, Cal P. Look down. Come on, man. Like, we got to be careful. Do not think about the creator like he's some chump sucker. Somebody like us that's subject to passions and weakness. No. Don't think of the creator like that. But it's the lives of illustrious men. All right. Talking about when the work of Jerome was written in Bethlehem, 492. You dig? So this stuff right here ain't nothing to, like, we making any of this up. But what I want to show y'all is something about Peter and James in there. So after their lives, they're being written about by Jerome. Jerome, 400s with 300s and 400s. So roughly 300 years later, they're speaking about these men. All right. And I want to read something in Peter and in James to show y'all. You feel me? Y'all, 1700 years ago, they already was having the debates and discussions about if they believe Peter wrote 2nd Peter or not, or if Paul wrote the book of Hebrews. This stuff had already been debated and talked about and documented way before we was even thought of it. See this? Now look at this. I'm going to read y'all this. It says, Simon Peter, the son of John, from the village of Bethsaida in the province of Galilee, brother of Andrew, the apostle, and himself chief of the apostles, after having been bishop of the church of Antioch and having preached to the dispersion, the believers in circumcision in Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, and Bithynia, pushed on to Rome in the 2nd year of Claudius to overthrow who? Simon Magus. Look at that. Look at that. Y'all see that? Simon Magus is even mentioned by Jerome now, who lived 300 years later. Simon Magus, who Peter was battling in the Nazarene Acts that we read, is on the mouth of Jerome 300 years after the matter. Wow. Look at this, right? Now watch this. It says right there, to overthrow Simon Magus and held the sacerdotal chair there for 25 years until the last, that is the 14th year of Nero. At his hands, he received the crown of martyrdom. Peter was murdered. He received the crown of martyrdom. It says, being nailed to the cross with his head toward the ground, upside down, and his feet raised on high. It's certain that he was unworthy to be crucified in the same manner as his master. He wrote, look at this. He wrote 2 epistles, which are called Catholic. Catholic means universal. He wrote 2 epistles, which are called universal or Catholic. The second of which, on account of its difference, the second Peter, the second of which, look at this. The second of which, on account of its difference from the first in its style, is considered by many not to be by him. Look at this, here. Look at this. So 1700 years ago, it was already understood that 2nd Peter was not written by Peter. It's pseudepigrapha. It's something that came out, a pseudo-anonymous. It's something that's written after Peter dies in his name, alleged to be by him. But they already knew that wasn't by him. Now, why is this important? Because 2 Peter 3:15 through 17, that my Israelite brothers love to go to, right? Peter supposedly bigging up Paul. But did y'all know 1700 years ago, it was already on record that Peter didn't write 2 Peter. If you understand that, give me a 4 up in the chat. I want y'all to hear what's going on here, man. This is serious. This is serious. Not my words. They understood this, y'all, 1700 years ago. That 2 Peter wasn't written by Peter. You see this? Now watch this. Then too, the gospel according to Mark, who was his disciple and interpreter. So, hold on. So Mark wasn't even no eyewitness of Yahshua. He was a disciple of Peter. And it said, and his interpreter is ascribed to him. On the other hand, the books of which one is entitled his Acts. Y'all, Peter's Acts is, guess what Peter's Acts is? The Nazarene Acts of the Apostles. Peter's Acts is the Nazarene Acts of the Apostles. It's Nazarene literature. You dig? Look at Cal P. What the foes mean? Folk for the tribe, Cal P. You know what I mean? Folk tribe in the building, Cal P. And we better be careful. They around here talking about we gang banging now. You dig? But 4 just for the tribe, man. Sometimes I say 9, 8. Sometimes I say 7, 3, 4. But 4 is dear to a lot of us because it's for the tribe. For tribe. But watch this. Then it says right here, it says the books of which one is entitled his Acts, another his gospel, a third his preaching, a fourth his revelation, a fifth his judgment, are rejected as apocryphal. So the Roman authorities rejected a lot of Peter's works. And they just went on and said that it's well understood 1700 years ago that Peter did not write 2 Peter. So that means Peter was not bigging up Paul. All praises, glory, and honor to the Most High. You did? All right, before we end it, I'm going to go ahead and show y'all about James. All right. Now, we all know James is the brother of Messiah. All right. Now, some of the histories will say that they didn't have the same mama, but the same daddy. And the Nazarene Gospels actually say they had the same father and mother. I mean, that's just all up to what you agree with. Nobody can make you believe anything. All right. But according to even to the Bible, Mark the 6th chapter, it was 7 children. It was 5 sons and 2 daughters that Joseph and Mary were responsible for. All right. He had brothers, man. He had sisters. He had family, cousins. You understand? Like all this was going on. These brothers were hunted down and destroyed by the Herodians. You dig? This is the Jehu M. This is the Gospel of the Nazarenes. Oh, now this book right here is the Nicene and post-Nicene fathers. I'll put it back up when I get done. I'll show you. That's right, Eliyahu, YAHKI. Peter's Acts, Nazarene Acts of the Apostles is the real book of Acts. It is. The Acts you have in your Bible was written by Luke, who was a disciple of Paul, who never met the Messiah. Come on, man. Stop that. Stop that. All right, James, who was called the brother of the master, surnamed the Just, is the son of Joseph by another wife. This is what Jerome is saying. But the Nazarene literature don't agree with that. All right. By another wife. All right. As some think, but as appears to me, the son of Mary, sister of the mother of our Lord, of whom John makes mention in his book. After our master's passion, at once ordained by the apostles, bishop of Jerusalem, wrote a single epistle, which is reckoned among the 7 Catholic epistles. And even this is claimed by some to have been published by someone else. So 1700 years ago, they like, look, the book of James that you have in the New Testament, they like, that may have, more than likely, that wasn't even written by him. Wow. Look at this. It says right here, bing, bing, bang. It says, by some to have been published by someone else under his name. Y'all, that's called pseudo-anonymous. All right. And gradually, as time went on, to have gained authority. Hegesippus, who lived near the apostolic age in the 5th book of his commentaries, writing of James. Now remember, James is the little brother of Yahshua. He's in charge of the whole movement. He is a Nazarite or a Nazarene. Now look at this. Hegesippus, who lived during the end of the 1st century and into the 2nd century, who lived near the apostolic age in the 5th book of his commentaries, writing of James, says, after the apostles, James, the brother of the master, surnamed the Just, was made head of the church at Jerusalem. Many indeed are called James. This one was holy from his mama's womb. Look at this. Look at this. From his mama's womb. He drank neither wine nor strong drink. Ate no flesh. Look at this. Ate no flesh. Never shaved or anointed himself with ointment or bathed. Dang, he ain't even taking no baths. What is going on here? Make sure y'all wash y'all stinking rear end. Don't be trying to go too hard with this. You did. But that right there, I'm gonna go into this in more detail when it's time for the next live. You dig? So let me go ahead and stop. I just wanted to show y'all that real quick. Let me pull that book back up so those can see what it is. Oh yeah, we went and studied this thing though, man. We didn't play. We went and studied it. That's what the book is right there, y'all. Post-Nicene and post-Nicene Fathers, 2nd century. All right. Francis P. Absolutely. Now look at this. So that right there is what we got. All right. So let me go ahead and end that. On that. Stop sharing. Bring that up right there. Oh, praise. What's the word? Tamari Al Habashi. Yeah, hit the email. We can set it up. We can come up with a date. We can come up with a date. We can come up with a time. We can come up with a topic. You know what I mean? We can do all that. That way it can be structured. All right, date, time, topic. I personally want to debate what is meats offered to idols according to the Torah, but we can debate whatever. It don't matter. Whatever. But hit our email in the description link. Let me know exactly what it is you want to do, and we can get it done. We can get it done. All praise to the Most High. Okay. Yeah, it's all good. Anybody can get this smoke. We also identified that there are false gods and deities being worshipped in the Bible. All right, so you got to know how to properly navigate through that. Everything is not of the Creator. Know that and believe that. All right. So, anybody got any questions before we get up out of here? I'm gonna have to go wrestle with these little jokers. Anybody got any questions? I'd say the Jasmine. Yeah, they bathed in cold water. Y'all make sure y'all wash y'all rear end. Don't be out here telling me something. I'm James. What's up, Kevin Lovely, my brother? Hi. All good. Abba, hi. To Mary Al Havasi. Just get in contact with us. We can go over the false gods. It's real easy. It's real easy. So once you say something, I'm gonna have to address it right back. And then we're gonna be on here again. Stop, boy. Stop. So just email us. We can do it live. Don't worry about it. We'll do it live right in front of everybody. Oh, yeah. Look, bro. Homilies, the Bible, Essene gospel, whatever. It's true about this. When you read anything, you're going to run across something that's problematic with your spirit. So I ain't the one up here saying that the Nazarene Essene literature is flawless. You know what I mean? So get in contact with us and we can go ahead and get it on. I'll put you right on the screen. We can go live and get it. Let me know exactly what you want to debate, the title, topic, the time, and we can eat. That what's up, Nazarite myself. That's what's up. All praises. Okay, I'll say mind blowing, good lesson. All praises. All right, salute. That's what I'm talking about. Hey man, stop. All right, I'm live. Kevin Lovely, salute. Tell my little brother too, the chosen one, my little brother. Tell him I said shalom. Your little brother. He reached out to me not that long ago. Yep, y'all can come on, get it, man. Anybody that want to chop it up, it's never nothing. It's easy just to go live, bing, put it on the screen, and let's work. But brother, I know everything is got to be scrutinized. Everything. You feel me? If it don't sit right and exact with creation, then you got to go ahead and question that. Yeah, Kevin Love, let's chop it up. You already know we family, man. You know it's good. And it's like that with anybody, y'all. It's family over here. I know I come off bold and how it is sometimes, but it's just what it is, man. Family. Let's rock and get her done. All right. Any more questions? I'm pretty sure it does. Look, Tamari Al Habashi. We not hiding at all. We ain't hiding at all. There are things in her that disagree with what's in her. One say Nazarene, one say Essene. And you can get into the homilies or the Nazarene acts. Understandable. I know all that. So it ain't like you're going to say something we be like, oh, dang, our foundation is destroyed. No, it ain't that. Our foundation is the Most High. You feel me? And his doctrine is taught by Yahshua the Messiah. That's it. He said, is the creator one of many? No, the creator is the creator. You understand? And the creator has many sons and daughters who can rise up in the ranks and be, co-creators and learn to master elements and all that. Yeah, they can do all that. You dig? But they are never worshipped. Only the Most High is worshipped. All right, he's the creator. All right, but he does have many sons and daughters that do his will. You understand? Many sons and daughters who are not even alive anymore in the spiritual realm that does the creator's will. They are not worshipped, but they are sons and daughters or gods and goddesses of the Most High, but they are not worship. They are not worship at all. You dig? So make a difference between the Creator, the Most High, and anything or anyone else. You be cool. You dig? All right, facts. That's by the books are not our God. Nah, books are not our gods. Not at all. I don't worship no book at all. What's up, son?
My belly turning. Wow.
What you mean it's turning brown? Boy, you been brown. But he's talking about his belly turning brown.
Yep, my body. Wow.
Nehemiah, whatever, Slim. Look at Nehemiah. Slim.
It's found right here.
Yeah, but we know all about that, right? So it ain't no thing. And look, it ain't no thing to pull it up and show it either. So, you know, next live, if you want, just email me. I can bring you on, bro, and you can talk about, you know, your perspective. My brother, what's his name? Tamari Al-Habashi. You come on here and give us your perspective. It's all good. Yeah. Look, bro, I was just trying to tell you, I already know. But I don't agree with that. False gods are in the Bible. You dig? So maybe that can be a topic if you want to shoot that out live. Are false gods in the Bible? Or false gods in the Bible being worshipped by the children of Israel at times? Are there false gods in the Bible assuming to be the creator? How about we do that? To make that a topic. Are there false gods in the Bible assuming to be the creator? My stance is yes. Hey, Cal P, they was outlawed. You dig? Yeah, contradiction. Plenty, bro. Listen to me. It's plenty of contradictions. Plenty. So I mean, you know, we can get it. If that's what you want to do, let me know. Line you right on up. All right. Any more questions? I'm gonna get on up out of here, man. The inmates are starting to run the asylum. You dig? All right, I don't see no more questions. All right, y'all. I'm about to get up out of here. Love y'all indeed and in truth. All praises to the Most High. All right. And through the power and essence of the Most High, we come against every unclean spirit that has our people bound in this hour. You understand? Every unclean spirit is causing plagues, that's causing diseases, that's causing anger, that's causing domestic violence, that's causing all type of envy and jealousy, that's causing all types of disorders in your body. We come against that and break it by the will of the Most High Creator. We bind it up with cords that can't be broken. We command it to move out. No unclean spirit, no false god has no authority amongst us. We put all you false gods on notice. We bind you and break your will in the name of the Creator. Ooh-wee. Make somebody mad. All right. All praises, all glory, all honor. Y'all get at me when y'all get at me. If not, email me and let's set it up and get it done. And once again, y'all thumbs ain't broke. Let's get it done. Y'all. All praise to the Most High. Watch out, boy.